Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our chat show, She, the Queen, organized by iCure in collaboration with Indian Arts Project. So, what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Video, please.
Can we have the video, please?
Yeah.
So, now I would like to invite our host for the day, Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya, a surgeon by profession, mentor at Chatshow, and founder of Indian Arts Project. Over to Dr. Debashish.
Namaskar. Welcome to all of you all that who have taken the trouble to join our show. And this is a very interesting show. This is called She the Queen, in which we try and understand something which is always eluded us from understanding is the woman. What are the ways in which the woman actually manifests herself in the form of a mother, friend, girlfriend, adversity, work? So I think it's very important for us to understand what the woman is about and hear from their own words how they wish to be treated and what is the place that the woman holds in society. So this is actually a no holds barred conversation, and we don't expect anybody to be very politically correct. Please tell us, because if you're politically correct, then we don't actually understand much of you, right? Okay, so without much ado, I shall hand you over to Mayudi Maya, who's going to do a song for us to actually set the tone. I think we get a video from Mayudi Maya, isn't it? Yeah.
आज से अब से आन मेरी मैं तुमको ना छूने दूंगी, जान को चाहे चलनी कर दो, मान को ना छूने दूंगी। आज से अब से आन मेरी मैं तुमको ना छूने दूंगी, जान को चाहे चलनी कर दो, मान को ना छूने दूंगी। छू के देखो दिल मेरा, तुम्हें दिल में अपनी भर लूंगी, पर छेड़ के देखो तुम मुझको, मैं तुमको नहीं छोड़ूंगी, मैं तुमको नहीं छोड़ूंगी। डर डर के नहीं चलूंगी ही, कैंडल जला के सैंडल दिखा के मर मर के नहीं चलूंगी ही। कदम मिला के देखो तो मैं साथ में चेरी छोड़ दूंगी, पर छेड़ के देखो तुम मुझको, मैं तुमको नहीं छोड़ूंगी, मैं तुमको नहीं छोड़ूंगी।
Thank you very much, Mayadi Maya. And Mayadi Maya has actually been on our show every time we've taken the stage. This is the third time that we heard from Mayadi Maya. She's fantastic. Maya, are you actually somewhere with us? Can we have a little chat? Mayadi Maya.
Hi, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, can we put some spotlight on Mayadi Maya, please?
Just a minute.
Yeah, can we do that?
Hello.
Hi. Hello, Mayudi Maya. So it is so
me?
nice to have you, to finally actually, see you and have a one-to-one with you. And I mean, your passion for singing and your beautiful singing has really caught our attention. So
Thank
what
you.
brought you to singing? What do you actually do? What brought you to singing?
Actually, I started as a hobby songwriter and singer. So now it's like going on with my songs on Spotify and on other streaming platforms, and just going with this.
And fantastic, it's so wonderful to see you sing every time. The power that you bring in your voice, it's really nice. Thank you, Mayadi Maya.
Thank you.
And now we move on. And now we move on to our first host of the evening. Can we give us some spotlight? This is Shreya Krishnan. Shreya is Executive Vice President of Marketing of Aeon India. Am I right, Shreya? Or you must correct me when I go wrong. And she is, other than that, she's been a celebrity diva. She's been Mrs. India one of the years, and she's very, very popular on Instagram with 70,000 followers. And Shreya, hi Shreya. Can we give some spotlight to Shreya, please? Or is nobody actually looking after this spotlight?
Hello, hi Devashish, hi.
Hello. Yeah, can we
Hi.
give some spotlight? Who's
I'm
in
on
charge of
Spotlight. I think the screen is being shared right now, which is why I will appear only on the top of the
Okay,
screen.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
There you are, Shreya.
Yes.
So, so this is a wonderful session. Now, this is a little idea which came, through discussion with all of us, and about being politically incorrect. I mean, you're not a very politically correct person, and we're on the wrong end of you a lot of times. I have to put, we support you, Shreya. Isn't it? Yeah. Tell us about your incredible journey in life. That you've turned out this way, and I mean, there's a complete different side of you when you come on these and ye karta hai, nahi karta hai. There's a completely different. But normally you're such a lovely, sweet person. But when you get on the men, that's something. Tell us about this here. Come on.
So I believe that being politically correct isn't the right thing, because what has been defined as politically correct for many, many years comes from conditioning, comes from societal structures, comes from stereotyping, comes from years and years of acquiring what we believe to be politically correct. So I believe it's important to call out what's not okay, because in a lot of spaces, racism is still politically correct. That doesn't mean we have to be racist. Being racist is actually not including being discriminatory. So if you to explore what politically correct actually means, the layers of what politically correct is can actually come into spaces which are not at all equal, equitable, or socially just. There is no equity, equality, social justice in a lot of politically correct things. So what I think we need to fight is the idea of what is politically correct, or what has been assigned as politically correct. And that will happen only over years and years of questioning your own conditioning and believing what you're being exposed to constantly, right? Because the world is building a narrative. We're all part of that narrative. The more we believe in that narrative, there are more reasons that will set you apart, because you're not built to fit into formative structures. And a lot of these formative structures are, for whatever reasons, patriarchal in some form, misogynistic in some form, because the world fundamentally has been built in a form and manner where all kinds of genders have been supportive to the patriarchy construct for years and years and years. Now, to unlearn that is the journey, and it is a journey because everybody is on different stages of that spectrum as a journey. So to me, I think my personal interest came into it because I believe language is very empowering, and I believe that words can be very, very liberating when you learn how to use them right and use them for the good. So for me, it's been about that. It's been about unlearning conditioning. It's been about unlearning what has been told to me as the only truth, because there is no such thing as the only truth. The truth is relative, and to understand that relative truth and to help people hold spaces that they hold in terms of the way they are, and the fact that you have to celebrate differences to be truly inclusive and intersectional. I keep going back to the word intersectional, because intersectionality becomes a very important aspect of this. So that's a little bit about my whole journey in the space of understanding, learning, and unlearning.
This is very interesting, Shreya, and I think we'll to this later on about stereotyping women. Women are expected to do so. I mean, some days back, I was actually with one of the very leading singers in London, and I was actually sponsoring the project from iCure. And I asked her, "What is your fees?" And she said, "But you don't have to give it to me." So I said, "Why are you reducing your fees just for me?" She said, "I am your friend." No, I know you. So the very fact that people know her, that is, gives them an excuse. You reduce your fees, and then I paid her full fees, and she said, "It's the first time in my life that I've got a full fee." So women are expected to sacrifice. Like at my house when we are having food, my wife, from her within, she will serve me a little bit more or something. So why are you doing it? So she said, no, you're the man of the house and all that. So I think women have been conditioned to follow some things, and this is something that we're out to change. And I think I will now hand it over to you, Shreya, and we can now introduce your panelists, whoever is there. Akanksha, can you put all your videos on, please? Akanksha, Paul, Ananya, and who else is Paromita Goswami. So over to you. You can introduce yourself and please go for each other. Okay, you're not
Yes.
allowed to keep quiet. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you. I shall now take your leave. Over to you, Shreya.
Thank you so much, Debashish. As always, what a Debu, as you prefer to be called. What a lovely introduction. And I have a smasher of a panel with me. I have Paromita Goswami, who's a singer, a corporate professional in transport for London, an aspiring art entrepreneur, and a mother. She's founder of Jal Tarang. It's the world's largest popular newspaper. It's a reputed platform delivering projects that are supported by the Indian government's cultural wings across different countries, and it's highly praised by the honorable bureaucracy. She's going to be speaking about various aspects of our topic for today. Then we have Akanksha Maria Paul, a young dynamic debater. She's an editor with LSE Law Review. She's pursuing her LLM Corporate and Securities Law from London School of Economics and Political Sciences, UK. And she's also going to be speaking on a series of aspects around women's rights law. We have Ananya Sarkar, raised in Jamshedpur, currently leading the project management arm for Communications Hub IoT Smart Metering Products and Services at Arikwa. She's she's going to be, she has an experience in the realm of creative arts from director at Harmono Universe, UK's first journey-based learning platform, specifically catering to music of all genres, a distinguished Toastmaster, highest of the order, and has served on the national board as an area governor and district governor, coordinated international conventions for Toastmasters events in India and Sri Lanka, and has served as a quizmaster along with Pick Brain at several prestigious organizations for TCS. On the cultural side, she's executed 2 musical productions of very high quality, and there is a lot more about her. So there are a lot of aspects around bodies, conditioning and all of these that we're going to speak about. And I'm actually going to start with my, like I said, a smasher panel across different ages and backgrounds. So I'm going to bring in Paromita here. Paromita, I want you to bring in and ask you to speak a little bit about claiming spaces, about spheres that women operate in, and how and why is it difficult in the context that we're exposed to. So bringing you in at this point in time, and then I will move on to the others on my panel.
Hi, Shreya, can you hear me? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so hi, Shreya, and thank you for, bringing me on board on this beautiful, like what Debashish said, that it is a politically incorrect kind of place where we can speak, pour out our mind and heart. And I know few of them, many of you rather, and I know all these beautiful ladies who are sitting here, I know them to an extent, I know that they are actually, true to the name what you have given, politically incorrect people. So it's a nice and interesting platform to talk about. The topic that you said, yes, the very first thing that I would like to say that the whole concept of fair, like you said, that we have a lot to unlearn about what is fair. For us, right from the very primitive age, right from the, right from our birth as a girl and then following being a woman, we are being told that there are primarily two spheres, the domestic and the outside world. And anything revolving to the domestic responsibilities that decides how you are going to deal with your outside world. And I can talk about myself. I'm coming from a kind of upper middle class strata. So I can speak about what I have been through. I know there are certain areas, cases in India, or you say anywhere in the world, the societal strata where there is no outside world at all for any of the women. So that is there, I know. But when I have to speak about something that I have been raised to, I have seen, I can only share a few things like we have a certain conceived notion that we are not supposed to work in marketing profile. We are not supposed to work, like women should not go for a marketing job. Women should not go for any field work because that could put an impact on your domestic responsibilities. And I remember during my MBA days, I was very good for selling products. Like I was very good in marketing. And when I told my father that I want to pursue marketing, and he said that, no, marketing is not for girls. You go for HR, which is a very, comfortable and cushion kind of job role. And you will be very good in that because you are scoring good marks in that as well. And finance was anyway not my thing. But these two, I was very interested in marketing. My professor told me that, why don't you come to Glasgow and pursue your marketing? We had a MBA course where we could pursue the marketing, the elective subject in Glasgow University. But I was not given that permission from home because they felt that down the line, after marriage, it won't be possible for me to pursue marketing. But standing today, you see that I am starting Jaltarang. I have started Jaltarang, and eventually, even though I'm working as a HR professional in TFL, but somewhere I'm pursuing my marketing dreams. I'm getting into sales profession, branding, marketing, Jaltarang, because eventually I want to pursue my dream. Now that what you said, that we have to unlearn a lot of things. There could have been two situations. Either I would have succumbed and give up, say that, okay, fine, HR is just that what I need to do. But I did not do that. I had a dream that I will pursue, and I always knew that I'm good in selling. I had this thing in me. So today what I'm doing as a Jaltarang is pursuing my passion of marketing. So that is one thing. But yeah, it's not always as such, success story, or I'm still not successful, but I'm just telling you that it's not so easy. Just a moment. Yeah. Yeah. I got a call anyway. So this is not as much easy like the way I'm telling you. You have to go through a lot of challenges. It's still today, I know when I go to office, there are certain ladies who tell us that, you know what, I wake up at 4 in the morning and I make 40 fulkas, and then I come to office and then I do my job. And people are like awestruck. Wow, you are a superwoman. I just don't understand the concept that why you have to prove that you are master in all. It is okay, you don't wake up at 4 and make 40 full cars, because by the time you're reaching office, you're starting your work, you're already mentally exhausted. So this whole societal pressure that you have to claim spaces in every genre, in all the domestic, the outside world, everywhere, women have to be good in everything, primarily in the domestic part, that decides how much you should give your energy, mind, and your skill to the outside world. Because until and unless you are good in your domestic responsibilities, no matter how good you are in the outside world, you don't get that, that social acceptance. So that is the thing which is always there and it's prevailing. And like you said, that we have to unlearn a lot of things. We don't need to get into that social peer pressure that, okay, I'm doing work, that doesn't mean I have to be good in, making fulkas. Like, I'm terrible cook. I always say that. But even in London, I have seen that when people invite to your home, they make sure that they make number of platter of food and you just tell them, wow, you are just, multifunctional. You are exceptional. You can cook so well. And I'm terrible into that. I just can't do. So that is the thing. So that pressure is everywhere, because that is our mindset, that we have to prove everyone that we are, we are all rounder. So yeah, that is one thing that we need to unlearn. And that comes with that brings a lot of impact on marriage as well, because again, marriage is a very beautiful institution. I myself is married, so don't take me wrong that I have hard feelings against marriage. But having said that, I believe that apart from marriage, there are many other form of relationship which are also very beautiful. A live-in relationship is beautiful. Any relationship which is even no strings attached is also a beautiful relationship. It all depends how the two souls are happy with each other. But the problem is that we society have made it a legit concept about marriage, that any kind of family, any kind of form of nature of family, good family, bad family, dysfunctional family, or any kind of responsibilities, everything should come from only one platform, that is marriage. So if you are married, then you are good in the rest. If you are not married, so your life is like, there is a complete void in your life, in your existence. You will die alone. In the first place, I don't understand the concept of dying alone. Technically, everybody die alone. I have never seen anyone dying with a village. It never happens like that. But this whole thing is said to the woman that if you don't get married, if you do not become a mother, you will die alone. And these are the pressure that leads also an impact on the skill of a woman, even if she wants to be a multifunctional, getting married at a wrong time, getting married even if she do not want to, that eventually that creates a lot of a side effect to her mentally, as well as any kind of work that she does. So yes, so that is how I will frame the whole thing, claiming spaces in all the sphere.
Right, thank you so much, Parmita. You actually bring in a lot of insight into what we call fundamental normative structures that societally have been built in some form to push women into spaces that are repetitive in patterns of chores, in patterns of home, in raising children, in patterns of all of that. You've literally alluded to all of that. And a lot of times there is no choice left to the woman but to stick to that and to conform. And you've spoken beautifully about these societal structures. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I think to consenting adults, I think the problem is we focus on the wrong things, because there is rape that's happening every day. We don't talk enough about consent. We don't acknowledge that women are sexual beings with sexual identities. So, there is an entire layer. So actually acknowledging that consensual adult relationships should be treated as they are, but consent is the focus, not what form of relationship, I think is a very important aspect that you brought up. Yeah. Akanksha, passing the baton to you for your comments on various things associated to what Paramita spoke about, but also your angle of workplace harassment and law and women's rights and things like that, which you can surely dwell on. So passing it to you.
Right. Thank you so much, Shreya. Also, lovely introduction from your end, and a huge shout out to Devashish and Dipashri for organizing this. I think they've done a wonderful job getting all of us very politically incorrect women on board today. So huge shout out to them. Just following up from what Paramita said about spaces and claiming your spaces. When I was approached to talk about women's rights, I took the concept of spaces and thought I'd talk about claiming safe spaces for women. And I think something that is of relevance to all of us would be claiming safe spaces for women in terms of their workplace. And I know this is a topic that is discussed a lot by HR and no matter where you work, but I feel like somehow this becomes a box ticking exercise. And even though women know that there's something called the POST Act and there's an internal complaints committee, they aren't really aware of the kind of rights and the kind of things that they're entitled to during the course of, say, an inquiry or even otherwise, or essentially what constitutes sexual harassment in general. So I thought I would just delve into a little bit of that, especially in the context of working online and when you're redefining the boundaries of what constitutes a workplace. Essentially, when women are not really going to work but interacting with their colleagues or their superiors or even juniors over the internet. So how do you essentially fit the laws and the mechanisms under into an online environment? And I think that's an important conversation we need to have. So essentially, I'll start off my talk by just covering what is sexual harassment, because I feel oftentimes people don't get the difference between workplace harassment and workplace sexual harassment. And both of them essentially can be really different. And complaints which may not be essentially sexual in nature may be filed as sexual harassment, and then the women can be reprimanded. Posh Act provides for reprimand kind of actions to be done if a woman files a false complaint. So I think kind of understanding what is that different process. So under the Act, just plain black letter law, and I know this is kind of boring, the boring part. Any form of physical contact or sexual advances, or any form of demanding of requests or showing pornography, if that makes a woman feel uncomfortable. So the words used in the Act are discomfort and consent, and I think that's something that even Paramita spoke about, consent. And this is a subjective test. So it's essentially on the woman and her thresholds of personal space, her ideas of consent, that essentially determine whether or not it actually amounts to sexual harassment or not under the Act. And this is, I think, something very important, because a lot of women feel that, oh, as my threshold is really high, but it doesn't matter. It's your personal threshold. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, or if it's against your sense of consent, then yes, it is sexual harassment in workplace, and it calls for a valid kind of complaint under the Posh Act. I think another very important thing that people kind of step back before filing a complaint is the issues around confidentiality. And just a little reminder around that, starting from the name of the victim, the perpetrator, or the processes that underwent through the entire under the whole thing. All of this is supposed to be kept confidential. In fact, when I was researching about this topic, there was a ruling by the Bombay High Court that said that even when the matter goes on appeal, you can't really publicize the issue in any media news channel. You can't even have a judgment which is dictated in court. So all of this is held privately in the chambers of judges, and it's essentially, then this is not done because they don't want to essentially show women as powerful beings who kind of reclaim their spaces. This is done so that it essentially encourages women to come out and make these complaints. Now, obviously, there's a long way to go regarding, our sexual harassment policies and whether they're actually implemented in the workplace. But I think one thing that I really would like to touch upon is the fact that the Calcutta High Court in Jan of 2021 came out with a lovely judgment that sexual harassment from the same sex. And I think that's extremely progressive. Not just by a man, but by a woman, by a gendered person. It has always so harassment and the Posh Act is evolving, and I think that is something that women need to take into account, and that essentially also impacts on the kind of get into. Because you're out there, you people understand.
I think we just lost her. I think she just dropped off. But yes, just chiming in while we wait for her to get back. I think what Akanksha was trying to highlight, Akanksha, if you're there, if you can hear us, we just lost you there for a bit. If we can bring you back in. Yeah, I think there is a issue with the network. So it's very important to understand what the law states. So yes, Akanksha, please go ahead. That's okay. We can hear you now. If you can go ahead and finish your thought, you were on the thought. So if you can go ahead and.
Yeah. So I think what I was just trying to say all this together is just, so not just organizations, but also women to kind of come forward and kind of understand their rights, and constantly remind yourself of the rights that you have and disseminate this information. I think that's really important because it should.
Okay, looks like we've lost her again. Ananya, I'm going to ask you to step in because you have also spoken about creating a space in the arts, and you've spoken about building. Akanksha, will bring you back. I'll bring you back with your thought. But Ananya, if you can chime in and if you can add to your personal experience of spaces, of navigating spaces, of workplaces, and what all of that pans out to be, we'll bring you in, and then Akanksha, I'll come back to you.
Well, thank you, Shreya. I think that was a brilliant introduction, first of all. And Paramita and Akanksha, both of you have been stupendous in bringing your points. Of course, there's more from Akansha, but whatever you both of you have said makes total sense. And there is just so much that women have to go through. And I am. I'm having to. I am a corporate professional, but at the same time, my venture, Monibus, is about creative and performing arts. And there's something, an observation that I had made in the world of creative arts and performing arts, which I thought I would share today. So, there's the irony that I was just trying to look up on some statistics and trying to research on how the artworks of women are visualized or taken by, people compared to men, that of men. And it is astonishing that work by female artists comprise a small share of the permanent collections in US and Europe. And you will notice that, and you can read this up as well, that during the auction, women's artworks sell for a significant discount than compared to that of a man. And it's really appalling because, and the irony is that most of women's artworks, or most of the artwork, actually features the life or the struggles of women. And it's got to do something with women. There'll be either the sexuality defined or redefined through an piece of art, or there would be a picture of a woman who is breastfeeding, and those are all perceived as art, but then they sell for lesser rates than the work of their equivalent men. And I think you're on mute, Shreya. You're trying to say something.
I was just chiming in saying, yes, women's art is undervalued in comparison to their counterparts. And it's the same for, writing. It's the same for anything that is created or crafted, including the pay scales, if you see around the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're drawing perfect references to the inequalities that exist, to the pay scales of women. And I think that's a very important point. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, this is just a very small example from the world of creative arts. These are, if you look back at history, women were largely barred from artistic professions and training until the 1870s. So if you look at history, there were hardly any women who made it big in the world of art and literature or in the space of creative arts. When I look at performing arts, there are lots of challenges again that women have to face. I am in a space where I deal with people who I recruit people from the performing arts. And I have heard stories firsthand of women being very talented, being extremely good at what they do, but still, just because they're a woman, they have been given lesser opportunities because of, or given a lesser pay, or even being harassed sexually by their so-called teachers, or in the environments where they go to learn music or dance or arts, any form of arts. And that's really a shame, because for a person, arts is something which is supposed to give you a broader perspective. It's supposed to, as human, art was not there when human beings came into existence. It was a product or a byproduct of evolution. And as a byproduct of evolution, arts is expected to bring in that sense of maturity. And it's expected to give you that sense of the respect for each other and the way you perceive different sexes. And unfortunately, that's not what the story is in the realm of performing arts. I know a lot of people who have given up on their careers because they could not handle the pressures or the harassment that they have faced. In fact, if you remember, not very long ago, about 2 years back or 3 years back, there was this very famous case where the guru was found guilty of sexually harassing the student, and he was a pretty famous person. Don't want to name, but after that there was absolutely no news about it. Absolutely, it just went into it just got vanished.
And our man's on the island.
Sorry,
our man's now on an island. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really a shame that way. And so this is in the world of arts. It's very hard for a woman to actually claim your space or claim your position in the world of arts, be it creative or performing. When it comes to corporate life, of course, there is workplace harassment, which is not just sexual harassment. In fact, most of the nouveau riche, they do not believe they do not show explicitly, or they will not discuss any content or any form of explicit remarks around sexuality or body shaming, because they understand the undertones, and they'll be very careful about not crossing the line. But it's sad that workplace harassment is not just a woman because of it just doesn't happen to women because of the woman being beautiful or the woman being too modern per se. It can also happen because of circumstances, and there is opportunities harassment. I remember when I delivered my first child, I was in India back then, and when I joined back, I was not getting a good role in my company because they thought I will probably not be of great use. I will probably take a lot of break. So ignoring the qualities that I came with, or ignoring the contribution that I had made in the past, it just decided based on my circumstance that probably I'm not too good enough for the role, because that role needs me to work more hours a day, or they thought that I would not be able to fulfill the responsibilities of my role being a mother, being a new mother. And it's rampant, not just in India, it's rampant all over the world.
Yes,
So
it's a global thing. And you're talking about unconscious bias. There are so many levels of conscious bias and unconscious bias that exist within the system, that the conditioning is to follow and, label and sort of make the decisions. I keep saying this, we are nobody to decide the journey of somebody else, whether it's in corporate careers, whether it's your children, whether it's your families. Everybody has the right to make informed choices. And you're talking about exactly that. Nobody asked you. They presumed and they assumed that you would not be available, or you would not be. And that assumption in itself is the highlight of what we're speaking about today. If you need to claim your space, you need to have equal access. And this is why equal access and opportunity is not available, because there is a preconceived notion that's driving that decision making. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there are statistics to show that as well, Shreya. In fact, I would urge all of you to look at something called 2020 Sexual Harassment Survey. This was done by the Government Equality Office in UK. And this was a commissioned piece of work which was done with around 12,131 people, out of which 5,141 were women and around 5,800 were men. And a whopping 29% said that they had faced workplace harassment in the last 12 months. And it's mostly within the age groups of 16 to 24 and 25 to 34. So you may think that this is, the time when women are more vulnerable. And it's also the age group where people are still learning on the job. So actually, the perpetrators, and bear in mind, the perpetrators are not just men, they are also women. In fact, this was also there in the survey. It's a very long survey. If you read it, at one point, it also goes on to say that the number of men versus the number of women, the percentage was absolutely the same, which shows that women do not appreciate other women in the workplace as well. So it's just not men who are the perpetrators of the sexual harassment or any form of workplace harassment. It's
Absolutely.
we women as well.
I keep saying this, the reason patriarchy exists at the level that it does is because it has as many women championing it as there are men. And a lot of times it is the women in your homes, it is the women around you who will make these comments, who will, redo those narratives for people who are, whether it's their sons or whether it's people. And a lot of times at workplaces, I find that women are so I've heard this so many times. I don't want a woman boss, because there is such a stigma around it. And that stigma obviously stems from something, right? It's not come from nowhere. Yeah. It's come from the fact that if a woman has had a tough career journey, the idea is the she for she is becoming more and more important and relevant now than the he for she. He for she has to happen, yes, but the she for she needs to be that movement that's pushing the he for she, because women need to start standing up for each other. And I think that's so important. I'm conscious of time. Debashish, or Deepashri, if you can just tell me how much more time I have, and then I'll go back to Paramita and Ananya. I don't know if we have Akanksha. Do we have Akanksha back with us? If we don't, then I just want to close off with both Paramita and Ananya.
Because this is such an engaging conversation, you don't want to finish this, Deepa, but then we
yeah, am I up on time? Am I up on time? Okay, so I'm assuming a half an hour is up. Okay, so Ananya, I'm going to ask you for your closing comments, and Paramita, I'll come to you and I'll quickly wrap it up and hand it back for the next panel. So Ananya, closing thoughts from you, anything that you want to share with the audience.
Thank you, Shreya. Yeah, I won't take too much of time. I just get very emotional talking about women, standing up for women. But yeah, I think as a closing comment, I think it is important that while this bias of men versus he for she, sorry, she for he, actually, that is the current status. She for he is always going to be there. It is the women who have to, it is us as a woman who have to kind of go beyond the norm, or behind what is called as a normative definition of what we should do, what our responsibilities are, and take challenges as we deal with challenges, and not buck under any sort of pressures. Keep reminding the colleagues, keep reminding our families, bring up sons, bring up daughters in a way that they are empowered, they feel empowered. And feminism, for me, is not standing up for women. You know, women, there is absolutely no concept of, you know, I know people brand people as, oh, you're a feminist, oh my god, look at your thoughts, I just don't understand how being a feminist actually undermines the value of men, because men and women have to coexist in this world. And the best way to do is to learn to respect each other, learn to understand what roles each of us play in each other's life, in each other's spaces, but also at the same time, respect the other person and make sure that that person feels safe, secure, and important in a relationship, be it between a teacher and a student, between a husband and a wife, or even at workplace. So yeah, that's from my side.
Yeah, absolutely, Ananya. Thank you so much for saying that, because you're so right. It's about respect. It's about equal opportunity and equal access. And being a feminist means that you're aiming and gunning for that you mean to see the world as an equal, equitable space, and not differentiating based on gender. Gender is no more binary anyway. So Paramita, switching gears to you for your closing comments.
I just loved what she said. Yeah, I just love what Ananya said right now. And yes, that's what I also want to say, that change doesn't happen overnight. So instead of just craving for change, let's be accountable for the change. And like what she said, that like we know that still today, men are considered as the primary provider of the family. Let's change that. Women do not, do job just to buy lipstick shades. That's a very wrong concept. We do pay our mortgages. We do also take, primary decisions in our children's life, education. So, these are very little trivial things, but that can really bring change. So, yeah, so that's what all I can say at this moment. And I think a lot of have been said by Ananya itself. So that's what I want to say, that let's
absolutely own your change, own your spaces, own your voices. With that, it's been amazing chatting with you all. It's unfortunate that we couldn't bring Akanksha back in. I think her network was an issue. It was lovely to hear your thoughts, and this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a series of conversations. And of course, thank you, Debashish, your team and Indian Arts Project, for having us here and for giving us this opportunity. It is an absolute pleasure to engage with all of you every single time. Thank you so much, and handing it back to you.
And it's absolutely fantastic, Shreya. I mean, the way you women came across, I mean, I wish this could go on, and I'm sure there are other people who are now actually waiting to come on. And thank you very much, Shreya, Ananya, Paramita. Of course, Akanksha is not there. Thank you, and we shall come back to you again subsequently. We have to keep this going. But I think now there is a poem, which is poem Tu Chal from the movie Pink. Do we have that poem, please?
तू खुद की खोज में निकल, तू किस लिए हताश है? तू चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। जो तुझसे लिपटी बेड़ियां, समझना इनको वस्त्र तू। जो तुझसे लिपटी बेड़ियां, समझना इनको वस्त्र तू। ये बेड़ियां पिघाल के बना ले इनको शस्त्र तू, बना ले इनको शस्त्र तू। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। चरित्र जब पवित्र है तो क्यों है ये दशा तेरी? चरित्र जब पवित्र है तो क्यों है ये दशा तेरी? ये पापियों को हक नहीं कि लें परीक्षा तेरी, कि लें परीक्षा तेरी। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तू चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है। जला के भस्म कर उसे जो क्रूरता का जाल है, जला के भस्म कर उसे जो क्रूरता का जाल है। तू आरती की लौ नहीं, तू क्रोध की मशाल है, तू क्रोध की मशाल है। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तू चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है। चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज बना, गगन भी कपकपाएगा। चुनर उड़ा के ध्वज बना, गगन भी कपकपाएगा। अगर तेरी चुनर गिरी तो एक भूकंप आएगा, एक भूकंप आएगा। तो खुद की खोज में निकल, तो किस लिए हताश है? तो चल, तेरे वजूद की समय को भी तलाश है, समय को भी तलाश है।
This is absolutely fantastic. I think whoever did that little collage and the blue was absolutely fantastic. Very powerful voice from Amitabh Bachchan. Now to go to our next segment, let me bring to you Indrani Bhattacharya. Indrani, can we give her some spotlight, please, Indrani? Yeah. Hi, Indrani. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. How did you like the real power packed?
I think it was absolutely brilliant. And these women have already brought in everything that we probably want to say anyway. But of course, the idea of gender diversity, the idea of equality needs to be spoken about. It's sad, but it's true that it needs to be spoken about, and it needs to be spoken about as many times and as frequently as possible. And I think that's why we have a brilliant panels. Of course, we already had Paravita and Ananya and Shreya doing the honors to start us off on this program, but we also have some brilliant people coming on the show after this. So without much, I think, shall I go on?
Yes, I'll probably take my leave and then leave you with the two celebrities that we have on this show. Go, Indrani.
Thank you so much. I mean, what a privilege and honor for me to be able to host two brilliant women I admire and women who are admired across the world, I think. So I'm going to start with Preetha. For Preetha, the journey from her hometown Ranaghat to Kolkata had been pretty exciting and enriching for a filmmaker. The small town girl who took up editing at Satyajit Ray Film Institute after completing mass communication from Xavier's made her debut as a director on the big screen with her film Mukherjee Dar Bo. The film released on Women's Day, and is a mother and daughter-in-law relationship story. Dealing with stories and relationships comes naturally to Preetha. Human emotions and their many layers have always intrigued me, is what she says. And of course, that's something that we will need to talk about, Preetha. But just quickly, a quick introduction to Shobodipta as well. Shobodipta is someone, of course, who's very, very close to me. And I feel it's like a personal, more thing that I get from her. Shobodipta Mukherjee started learning music at a very, very tender age from Sri Shomrajit Guho Roy, Srimati Rumpa Mukherjee, and Sri Kalyan Chattopadhyay. Presently, she is being taught about various vocal techniques from Srimati Shubhamati Banerjee. During her musical journey till now, she's received many awards and accolades, including West Bengal State Music Academy, Dover Lane Music Conference, Calcutta University Institute, to name a few. Bharat Ratna Lata Mangeshkar blessed her by sharing one of Shomodipta's music videos where she performed a part of Mozart's Symphony 40 in Indian Sargam. Of course, she was one of the prime contestants of Zee Bangla, and who she received a lot of accolades from the judges. So welcome to Shomodipta and Preetha. What a privilege to have both of you over here.
Thank you so much. It's actually our privilege to, to be in such a, esteemed platform, knowing Debashish for some time now. And he's so encouraging to all the new talents and who wants to create, their own path and trying to leave their mark. And this is a wonderful show to be in. So thank you so much, Indranidhi. Thank you.
The thing, of course, with Shobodipta, I've had you have been known her for a while, but to know you, and I know I went to watch Mukherjee Darbo when I was in Calcutta, and it was like sometime in it was a holy day that I actually went to watch Mukherjee Darbo.
Okay.
I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. And when I got to know about that, I had this opportunity to interview you. One question that really came to my mind, Preetha, is that we don't have as many women directors as we have men. Yet I can sit here and say that the quality of work done by film directors who are women, like Aparna Sen, Konkona Sen Sharma, Zoya, for you, the quality is so much better than the quantity of films we get from men, if I might say so. Why then do we not have enough women directors doing the kind of work that you are doing, Preetha?
First of all, thank you so much for such kind words and putting me in the, along with the names, they are legends and very talented people. But as I think we were discussing briefly the other day, I think what I, from my own experience, what I have understood, in the Film Institute also, when we were studying film editing, we had the gender ratio of our class was there were 10 students. Out of that, we were I think 2 of our were girl, and rest 8 were male students. And the I think there's a lot of myth and insecurities and misinformations about this whole industry is well spreaded. And most of the time, I think women feel very insecure to take part in this uncertainty. I think we are we are generally come from an environment where people think women needs to be protected. So I think we need to have our own armor and we need to have our own journey. And that was one thing, my father told me, if you fail or if you succeed, it will be your decision. And at the time, I moved from Ranaghat to Kolkata to study mass communication. I also personally didn't have any idea about mass communication, what it is and all these things. It was back in 2005. And but only one thing he told me, it is going to be your decision. So you fail or you succeed in this field, you will always know that you have taken such a decision and it is the outcome of that. It is not like someone else has decided for you. I think that is the reason most of the women, I think they are not quite sure what kind of outcome this career will bring to them. Whereas I think I also get a lot of young girls who wants to be actor on the other part of the uh, and also, like, if you see, like, as you said correctly, like, very less examples of women director are there, so that also makes it a little, scary field and more of a male dominated field. Like, when I go to shoot, like, often, like, I am the only woman, or probably, one of the two women who are in the main crew, like behind the camera, crew people. So yeah, I guess, that is like, I hope, like, I have answered your.
Yeah, but I think your father empowered you in that way when he said that,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a
he
choice
did.
you made. And, I think that's something that men are not even told, go do it.
Right, right.
By empowering you, he did give you the decision. If you fail, it's yours, and
Yes,
that's fine. We as women, even if we fail, it's ours to consider,
yes,
to change,
yes.
to do whatever. And so I think, from where you are coming from a directorial place where you are behind the camera, you hold the reins of that whole film. That's a
Mm-hmm.
powerful place to be in. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what you need to probably, if you can talk about that, how you exude that power. Obviously, at that point, you have the power over the men. It's not about having power over the men. It is not about that. It is about stating your equality. I am not here saying that,
Yes.
when we talk of feminism, we're talking that
Yeah,
মেয়ে
absolutely.
আমাকে বেশি করতে হবে ছেলের থেকে. That is not
Right,
the point.
right, right.
But that the power you have as a director is what you are exuding. And I think that would be something, it would be nice if you tell the people who are trying to come that that's a power. That is powerful. And that is something you have to be proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, as you correctly said, I think feminism as a word or as a concept is often misunderstood and misexplained by most of the people. So it kind of, it's kind of sometimes becomes a very derogatory, word. Like, when people say, okay, so you're a feminist, right? So I laugh at them and I say, like, there is nothing about, there is no war between men and women when we talk about feminism. It's all about, like, we are asking for our own, intellectual right and the equality. Like, like, we deserve the same kind of, atmosphere and opportunities to exercise our own talent, or like whatever. So I think when I go to work in the field, so first of all, I would say, like, it's not a very, easy way. So still there are a lot of rigidness in terms of acceptance as a woman director, because it's not anyone's fault. It's like, in your collective consciousness that, you generally see men are, dominating that part, where when as a woman you are the, main controller of that field. So there are a lot of within crew only, there's a lot of resistance, and you need to make them understand uh, in a very different way that, they need to perform certain things. Like, I have failed uh, the junior crew, they came to my cinematographer and asked, like, where to put the camera. And my cinematographer, who is a man actually, so he politely told them that, she is the director, so probably, you should ask her, like, where to put the camera. So there were, like, a lot of, small incidents like that. But seeing that, I think what has given me the power to still, hold the whole shoot together, like, a crew of 50 or maybe, 100 peoples at times, is that I think we need to know our job really well, and that actually gives the confidence. Those, like, young women who are, like, film aspirants and want to work behind the camera, I would tell you, like, two things are very, very, very important. One is, like, you need to know your job like, no one's business. Like, when you come to the floor, like, people know that, you know everything, and there is no slightest doubt, or because if you by mistake gives out that doubt, and then you are judged based on your gender.
Exactly.
So that's a very very dicey scene. But
But
for that, I don't say, like, you have to be arrogant about whatever, of course, like, you be open to other people's opinion, but you really need to, internalize your knowledge and, go with that confidence. And secondly, you need a lot of patience, because even after all these things, like you are going to be asked certain questions, like after, like as I was telling you the last time, after Mukherjee Dar Bohu released, the next year I got married, and I was asked by many journalists, like, you will continue making films, right? So I don't think my husband, being a professional from a different field, no one asked him, like, whether you will continue your marketing job after marriage. But I was asked that after, I think, a considerable, like, good film, making a good film, then I was asked those questions. So you need to have a lot of patience.
Oh yes, patience is the key word for women. I think I'll come
Yes,
to
yes.
Somadipta. Sorry. I'm going to come to Somadipta now.
Mhm.
Somadipta, you are of course a singer par excellence. You have over, both of you actually, I think, have over 1 million followers on your page, and you're a household name, and of course you're doing very, very well for yourself. I know for a fact that people like Anupam Kher have called you to tell you about the music that you have performed, and both of you have worked together as well. Uh, Shobhadipta, the question to you is, what do you believe, as a woman? I'm going to take away all the negativity and try and see if we can get another part. Is that, what do you believe as a woman has been your advantage, as a singer, or even a woman in this industry? How has it been? What's the advantages that you find, Shobhadipta?
Okay, so firstly, Indrani, you gave an outstanding introduction about me. So thank you for that. And,
Both of you deserve more. I think I didn't do justice to it, but anyway.
no, it's an honor. Thank you, Devashishta. Thank you, Indian Arts Project, to giving me this opportunity, and thank you, Indranidhi, for giving me this opportunity. It's an honor, absolutely. Coming to your question, basically, one advantage, I will say, it's the most important, that is, women are mentally strong. I believe that women are mentally strong. They feel positive. They believe in positivity. And this is the key word. If you want to make place in this industry, if you want to make your own thing, if you want to grow, you have to be mentally strong. Otherwise, you can't make your place. Because I have experienced that. I'm sharing one thing, that after, when Lataji shared my video, when she did my video, after that, I have faced the bare truth of this industry. The group of renowned musicians, they started to criticize me. I'm talking about unhealthy criticism. Not talking about healthy
No, I
criticism.
know. I have seen that.
Okay. So they started criticism, and I was really depressed that time. And my father told me one thing, যেটা যেটা আমার মনে হয় যে আমি বোধহয় সারা জীবন এই কথাটা আমি মনে রাখবো. And he told me, that is, যে listen, when you face this type of criticism, realize that you are in the right path. Let them do it. So you are in the right path. Concentrate on your work. তোমার কাজই তোমার প্রমাণ হবে. So this is the only thing, and I believe it. And still now, I believe that if you are mentally strong, you can do anything. This is the advantage women have only.
True. I think that's beautifully said, Shobhadipta. I think, Preetha, if you can come in on this as well. And we are mentally more strong, it is true that women, unfortunately, we still have to prove ourselves for whatever reason. We are proving ourselves every day. And you said it correctly, being strong is our only weapon, and that is the weapon that we have to go ahead with. What do you think, Preetha?
Yeah, absolutely. I would completely agree. Like, unless you are mentally strong, like, it's the world is tough, like, for everyone. So that is one of the key thing, like, to carry forward. But I also think, as a woman, I think women are, generally more sensitive. They have a very keen eye to, like, which especially, like, in my field and in my job, like, when I'm portraying certain relationship, I need to have a very, keen and deep understanding about relationships, um and for that I need to have a heart of a woman only. So often, like, many male directors also say, like, when you have a heart of a woman and you perceive emotions and relationships in a very different way. And I'm very like I would say, like, and I'm very lucky in that way, that I am a woman and I have that heart already, and that helps me to internalize a lot of complexities of life, and how to take the best out of it and put just put it in my work and channelize in my work. So I think that is also another advantage being a woman.
True. I think that the thing that you both of you come across, you are both celebrities in your own right, and I am conscious of the time that you have with us. And as Shobodipta also said, I was aware of what she's talking about, the harassment she had online. I'm sure you have faced the same as well.
And
But
sorry to interrupt you. I actually overcome it because I have this positivity within me, that I thought that ওরা যা করছে করুক, I have this confident, I know that I have the talent and I'm confident I can do whatever I want. So I have that positivity within me. So সেই কারণে আমি overcome করতে পেরেছি.
yeah, and
Fantastic.
absolutely. I think the reason both of you are here is because of your talent, and you have to be able to, portray that, and you have to believe in yourself. And I think I told this to Shobodipta before as well. If people take the time to say things against you, it is because you are important to them. So look at it that way. You must be that important, they have to take the time out for that.
Exactly.
And so it's as simple as that. But just coming to the next question is, our program is aptly titled She the Queen. And the question is, again, both of you, do you believe that you are queens in your own right? You have to take pride in what you're doing. And do you believe the struggles that you have over here are more so because the men can't accept you? And, the men find it difficult to accept she, the queen.
Shamadipta, you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can
Okay. So if I would proudly take this title of being a queen. So like in every sense, like in direct and metaphorical, in all senses. But like when you become a queen, you also are given certain responsibilities. So I think if we accept ourselves as a queen, we need to also accept those responsibilities. And um, because I believe, for a long time, women have been deprived of a lot of their rights. Now when even few of us, like we are struggling to make our way through, one thing we need to remember is to make it easier for the next generation or younger women. So so I would like love to have more women crew to come and work in film industry, so that like 10 years down the line, like we don't even discuss this in a interview chat show. So it becomes very normal that there are like 50% of women and 50% of men in that way. So for that, what I've started is I was telling you last year also that I've started inviting women, like young or young or old, doesn't matter. So whoever is, film aspirants, like, I ask them, the women, like, you can come and be in my team and in my shooting floor and learn and just see like whether you like it or not. And if you like it, then you will have at least, have a like understanding, like whether you want to continue doing it or not. So most of the time, I think when I started off, it was even difficult to get an internship and to be like, when you are a woman and going for an internship in a film studio, what I have faced 15 years back, so you are immediately sent to the costume department. So okay, so you are a woman, so go to the costume department and handle the costume continuity. So you are not asked to come and manage the floor very easily. So I really want more women to be exercising those opportunities, so that they have more confidence to start their journey. I think so if like I am entitled to have that like title, the queen, then I would like to perform those responsibilities as well.
True, absolutely. Shamadipta.
I agreed with Prithadi, firstly. But I want to say that, see, we live in a men dominating society. So men will dominate us. But as you have said that she, the queen, today's topic, we are the queen and we can break that dominating power. So basically the স্ট্রাগলের কথা যেটা তুমি বলছিলে সেটা হচ্ছে যে women are facing mental struggle more. I'm not talking about physical struggle. If you're talking about physical struggle, then men or women are facing the same thing. But women are facing mental struggle a lot. We have to face it. And I'm sharing one experience with you. One day I was recording one song with my colleague, and he was renowned singer, and I can't take his name. So he told me, I was recording that time. I mean, recording Kochi. And frequently he was trying to stop my recording and "Ei jagata na hocche na, try to put something, try to put that, try to put that." And I was like calm and quiet. And 45 minutes আমি সেটা bear করেছি. But after that I thought that now it's time to say something to him. And I told him with full of respect, I told him ki I know what to do. I'm confident enough. I know what to do. Let me finish. After that, listen to that whole song. After that, if you have any problem, then told me. আমি মেনে নেব, যদি ঠিক হয় আমি মেনে নেব। So that time he realized that yes, she is confident enough, she know what she has to do. So তারপর সে আর কোনো কথা বলেনি। So whatever you have to do is, স্ট্রাগলটা হচ্ছে আমাদের সাথে সবটাই মেন্টাল স্ট্রাগল। আমাদেরকে এটাই মনে রাখতে হবে যে men are always try to dominate us, but we are confident that we have the talent and we have to showcase that.
I'll just briefly add another thing is, I'll just very briefly say that it's not about, whether men accepting us or not. I think the problem lies in the whole societal structure, because it's not only men, because what I have faced also women in certain position, they also look at things in a very stereotypical way and very orthodox way at times. So I, from my experience, I haven't only faced this kind of randomness only from men, but also from women. As I was telling you last day, that one of a very renowned creative director for an ad shoot, and the ad was on women empowerment, and she said what, like the actor had few pimples and few breakouts, and she said you have to remove that in post. So I said, like, what's the problem if those pimples are there, because those are, like, very normal thing to have. And if you talk about body positivity, and like, you need to accept those things. And she said, what are you saying, like, I have to live with those pimples now? And I was completely shocked, because being a woman and how much hegemonized you must be throughout your life, that you also don't accept it in a normal way. So I wouldn't say like only men, but I also think from women, we all of us, like, I think we need to kind of go through mental cleansing.
Yes, we all need to go through mental cleansing, and I think we'll end on that note with the. Thank you so much to both of you, but I think we have to end with Shomodikta for today. And something that
I'm also looking forward to hear that.
Absolutely, Shomodikta, the floor is yours.
Okay, so the song I'm going to sing is it's a very popular song and composed by Ram Sampath and sung by Sona Mahapatraji. It's one of my favorites. देवारे ऊंची लंबी डगर है पर हिम्मत है संग, पाँव पिछाले सांसें बुलंद, लड़ने चली हूँ आजादी के जंग। बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे। रीति की जंजीरें खा गई जंग, न्याय के मंदिर भी हो गए भंग, जमाना चले ना चले मेरे संग, बोलूंगी हल्ला आवाज दबंग। बेखौफ आजाद है कहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है कहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे। छोटे ही जिस्म पर मरहम उमंग, लाश नहीं हूँ मन जिंदा पतंग, दिल में उम्मीदों और खुशियों के रंग, हर आंसू बनेगा एक नई तरंग। बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है रहना मुझे। दीवारें ऊंची है गलियां है तंग, लंबी डगर है पर हिम्मत है संग, पाँव पिछाले है सांसें बुलंद, लड़ने चली हूँ आजादी के जंग। बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है कहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है बहना मुझे, बेखौफ आजाद है जीना मुझे। Thank you.
Beautiful, Somadipta. Absolutely. Bekhauf Azad Hai Jeena
That's
Mujhe. And that is
all
the
of us.
power of womanhood. But thank you so much, Somadipta. We'll get back to you. And thank you for covering on this. We will move on to our next segment. To stay with us, Devashisha.
Yes, next segment, of course. Thank you very much, Shomadipta and Preetha. I mean, as usual, Preetha was absolutely fantastic. Preetha is always been expressing herself beautifully at all times, and also very nice to hear young Shomadipta and all
Thank
the
you,
best.
Devashika. Thank you so much.
Okay, and now, Indrani, you stay on for our next panel. We have Antara Bhargav, Meera Vinay, and who else? And Deepasri, I think, comes back. And I shall, without much ado, hand it over to you to take these feisty women. I can see Antara already, kind of sharpening her bows and arrows or whatever it is, and you go for it. Okay, over
Thank
to
you so much. Yes, we did run a bit overtime with the previous one, but again, I think we have so much to always say. But welcome to this brilliant panel as well of Meera Vinay, Antara Bhargav, and Deepasri Shodhar. Meera Vinay, CEO, Indian Raga in the UK. Antara Bhargav, again, CEO, Civitas, personal safety of women, and Deepasri Shodhar, who is a sustainability engineer, singer, publishing expert, and CEO of Indian Art Project. Welcome to all of you. What a pleasure to have such a brilliant panel with me. Our topic today, ladies, is workplace harassment and mental health. I think the first thing that I would really like to talk to you about is you are all bosses in your own right, in your own field, you're bosses. Did you face, I'm sure we all did, we did face difficulties in creating that niche for yourself. But trying to create that niche, how did it affect you? mentally, as well as how was it different in the workplace for say, when compared to if a man had to do what you have been doing? I'll start with Antara, if that's okay.
Thank you, Indrani. Firstly, brilliantly compared the previous session. Absolutely enthralled with these young generation of women and the way that they speak and stand up for themselves. I think the first thing I always do is I set the context in terms of why I'm qualified to speak on this topic. So I am one of India's first female black belts in Taekwondo. I was the first female and the youngest referee in the national games back in 1998 in that martial art. I have taught over 20,000 people a particular model of thinking about personal safety and risk. I've also written an award-winning thesis on gender diversity in the workplace. And one of the discoveries I made when I wrote that thesis, which is entirely based on secondary research, is that there are three types of issues or three categories of challenges that women face when we are trying to promote gender diversity. The first, which we all know, is societal issues and the societal structure, which we can all agree. The second is institutional bias, which is a very insidious, invisible, intangible. And the third is personal bias, which I think Shreya and the previous panel before you spoke about, which is the idea that we are socially conditioned as women to see each other as competition. Now that actually, in my opinion, is quite easy to beat, because the moment you tell an intelligent woman that you've been taught to see other women as competition, you look at Indrani wearing a similar red blazer and you just condition your mind and say, listen, dude, she looks fabulous. Like, I'm happy to look as fabulous or somewhere in the same vicinity as Indrani, and it's not a competition, right? I don't need to run off and go change my clothes. I'm happy to be in the company of powerful, intelligent women. But the second piece on institutional bias, I think irrespective of whether you come from a powerful family background, whether you have support, whether you've had an excellent education, whether you're good at your job, institutional bias is very pervasive. I think a previous speaker spoke about her experience post having birthed her first child, and the kind of restriction she faced in, opportunities or the conversations that people dared to have, which they would never have with the man, about whether she was fit to return to work. I think we've all faced it. We've all faced it in multiple ways. We faced it, in our own way without anybody knowing about it when we're menstruating and having a particularly difficult day. We faced it when we've chosen to get married, at home and in the office. We faced it when we've had children. We faced it at multiple levels. We faced it when we're in a meeting at the board table. I'm sure Meera will agree, where we're presenting a particular idea or thought and it's not heard because you're the only female voice in the room, but somebody else will say the same idea and suddenly it's the best idea that they've ever heard, right? Or you have to shout 3 times louder and then you're seen as too aggressive, or you don't shout enough and you're too gentle and you're not a leader, or you can only be tough but fair. You can't be feminine and a leader. So these are all concepts and myths and narratives around our construct in the workplace, and they take a huge toll on our mental health, because unless you're equipped with the tools to combat the narrative, understand the narrative, and still stay true to who you are, because not every woman is the same, right? It's going to be a very, very challenging time for you. And I think, the collective support of women is very important. The last thought I'll leave you with, because this is obviously opening remarks, is there's a study that's been published a few years ago. I'm not sure if you guys have read it. The average woman across the world, not just India, the average woman spends, if you collectively take all the time she spends worrying about herself as a woman and her physical safety, you take all those minutes and hours about what should I wear and where am I going and how, it's about 4 years of your life. It adds up to 4 years of our life we waste worrying about our personal safety, which a man does not need to. And that worry and stress and that physiological, psychological impact is one that we should discuss, address, and find ways to solve for generations. And that's it from me in terms of opening remarks. Delighted to be here.
And it's very, very powerful, Adra, what you said, that, even to think, even if you think numerically, 4 years I've already spent 4 years probably of my life thinking about how to present myself so that I can fit in. And, probably that's something that we all have faced. And patriarchy is going to continue. Men are going to be the superpower, or so they think they are, even though they know they are not. And that's something that's always going to be over there. Thank you so much. That was really, really powerful. And Ramira, over to you. What do you think about, the place of a woman in your workplace, and how does it affect you mentally?
I think the discussions we have had so far, they've been amazing in so many ways, and the perspectives everyone has presented are quite insightful. And also, I think what you said, the bias that happens at various stages is so true. And understandably so, we need to work around it. So instead of talking about how I have faced a bias or how things have gone around, especially from a leader's perspective, I try to look at things a little differently, because I'm not denying I have gone through these biases at all. I think each and every one of us has gone through it. I remember sitting in an interview, being one of the most competent candidates there, but the moment they realized I have a child, it goes down the drain. Nothing really matters. And that's when you take a decision. And that's when you start acting smart. And that's when you realize you need to play to your strength. And this is what I tell my team, and majority of them are girls who are just out of uni, fresh in their workspaces, and I give them challenges. I give them places where they can stand up and talk their minds out. So I think by empowering them, by giving them that platform where they're just as equal as any other man out there, is perhaps my way of dealing with it. And I'm sure there are a lot of you who are doing it similarly. I think Preeta's example is something which is pretty close to what I have been doing. So I encourage a lot of girls to come and do the kind of work a producer like me does. I tell them, work smart. And the moment you realize that you need to act confident, yes, go for it, go for it. Some say you have to fake it till you make it. Fair enough. It's okay. It works that way. Build your confidence and nip it in the bud. So don't start on a shaky ground and forever try to make up for it. Start strong, play it strong. The moment you feel that you need some support, you need strength, there are plenty of people out there who will help you. Each and every person on this panel is your mentor, is your coach. Draw strength from whoever is around you. And don't stop at just women. Draw strength from the men around you. Reach out to them. I have grown up in a family where the women were very, very strong. My maternal grandmother and my paternal grandmother were bosses. And it was a very normal thing for me when I grew up, and when I realized there are men around who don't do household chores, I found it very, very strange. So those are the things that are different for each of us. Our stories are different. But at the end of the day, I would rather stand up. And if there is somebody who needs help, just reach out. Whether you need help or if you are extending help, don't shy away from it. Don't take half measures. Just play it very bold. But at the same time, I also tell them, when you are bold, it does not matter that you're a bull in, sorry, you do not have to act like a bull in the china shop. You please think, stop, think. And if that moment calls for you to showcase your strength, do that. So my take on it is this way, a little different, but I'm sure if that's something that inspires others or helps others, then please feel free to borrow it. Yeah, build your community of peers.
Women. Yeah, absolutely. Mira, even, your way may be different, but the end result, what you and Antara and any of us, what we're trying to talk over here at the panel is the same. Fake it till you make it, do whatever it needs within the right, constraints. Definitely just go for it, and don't think that there is someone who is always going to you have to be responsible but you're not answerable to someone else who you think is higher up, whether it's a man or another woman or anything. Dipachri, do you want to come in on this one and just your thoughts?
Yes. Thank you, Indrani. The thing is, we have certain societal taglines and assumptions. Oh, this girl is very cute. Uh, she cannot manage certain things. They'll text me calling me doll, or they'll say, "Oh, must be that type woman. She's very pretty." I don't understand. To be in a profession, to be a corporate professional, you don't have to get married. That's just not the tag. That's not the safety tag you need to carry. You can be single, you can do whatever you want to, you can be the boss. You don't have to stick to certain assumptions and safety draw lines, boundaries. That I just don't understand this particular thing. Not only at the corporate level, even otherwise, they'll comment on your body. They'll if they cannot break you, I mean, academically or professionally, or in any which way, they'll target you mentally. They'll say, "Oh, you're fat, you're fair, you're dark," or I mean, there's a lot of body shaming, a lot of racism at workplace. Even though we have this posh and all that, but then certain things cannot be, I mean, conveyed. So that they just say and they go away. It's very difficult for a woman to be a leader, business leader or political leader, or in any which way, any which profession. It's just not safe for a woman to be there. She needs to be mentally strong, because when she goes out, her family, her in-laws or her husband or her children, they will start mentally targeting them. They'll burden her with the stuffs, home stuff. She's just not the queen of her kitchen. She's the queen of herself. She's the queen of the world. You shouldn't restrict women to certain things. I've heard some of my friends tell me, and one of my friend is a divorcee now, and she tells me, "Yeah, Deepa, no one is ready to marry me in India. What shall I do? Now I have this tagline, divorcee. What is this divorcee? What is this widow? They're not allowed on weddings or any good rituals. If someone is childless, you just treat her differently." I really don't understand. If someone is dark, you say she's just not picture perfect. If someone's father is well to do, you say she is just not sanskari or sargun sampanna. If someone gives birth only to a girl child, if this woman has never given birth to a boy baby, she is unfit to be in the society. If the child is abnormal, then the woman is to be blamed. If the woman drinks, she's not sanskari. If she doesn't drink, she's not equivalent to your status. She's just not party type. If a woman drapes a sari, then she's a behenji. If she wears modern clothes, she's very fast type. I really don't understand the stigma assumptions that people carry with themselves. It hurts many. I've seen my friends breaking down, and it's not safe for them to travel, take the public transport. You cannot take your car every time. Sometimes, at times, you have to book Ola, Uber. You have to rely on them. But then if you wear sleeveless, they look at you. If you wear torn jeans, they look at you. I have this place. Our place is, so we are human beings. It's a blessing, and certain societal taglines and assumptions have. I don't know what to say. Has actually, I don't know whether to call it a blessing or not a blessing. So someone tells me I should have. I wish I was a dog or something else, not a woman, because I feel unsafe even in within the four walls, even when I go office, even when I travel, even when I do anything. So it's certain things needs to change. This Behenji tagline, all these taglines should change. People should understand. It hurts. You should respect human emotions more.
I mean, what you said is absolutely right. Yes, and I think especially it's more prevalent probably, in some places in India. I would like to believe that we have moved a little bit from these kind of taglines in 2021 and not really sticking to this behenji kind of thing. If it still exists in some places, the only thing I would suggest is you need to shut yourself off, lady. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You cannot take it. That I would have thought that would have happened 10 years back when I was in school or university or whatever. I mean, that doesn't happen now. And if it still exists, I thought the situation was graver in a different way than this. Whether I'm going through a menstrual cycle and I cannot go to do puja is not something even my mother told me. So I would have thought that we've gone beyond that. And if that's happening, that needs to stop, and you need to just shut yourself up. That's not the kind of people you need to surround yourself with. But what I was also thinking of is that, these kinds of things are more women oriented. Do the men really always come up, or are we women trying to pull another woman down? If I'm talking about the need to appear for a certain kind, the need to look a certain kind, and that is more to do with our mental awareness, our mental health. That am I ready to be accepted the way I am, however I talk, however, of course, I am not talking of being, using cuss words or going beyond a certain where, it's not acceptable. But within my acceptable limits, am I someone who should be accepted for who I am rather than change? Because that's when I fit in. Antara, or to you, please.
I'm going to start by saying thank you, Deepashri. I think the way you portrayed not just your reality, but a lot of women's realities, very brave. You've been very vulnerable. You set out, I think, the reality in a very stark manner. And Indrani, I'll disagree with you bravely here. We live in a bubble. We educated, privileged women of substance who have careers, who have reached a certain level. We live in a bubble. We think that's reality. That's not the reality. The majority of the masses of women out there in every country in the world, that's their reality, what Deepashri just said. And change statistically is extremely slow. It's 0.5% per year in terms of at a corporate level, never mind societal level. So what we think is reality is actually not. So if that is the reality, if Deepashri's reality is the reality, and it is that harsh, and that's the scale of change we need to bring about, I'd like to focus on solutions, right? And I'd say there are 3 solutions that I would like to mention. Let's first become aware, accept, and acknowledge that the level of stress on us as women is significant. Stress is detrimental for our health, mental, physical, physiological. If that is the case, what would you do if your body was suffering? If you broke an arm, or if your arm was always paining, what would you do? You'd go to a doctor, you'd go to a health professional. Do that with your mind. I highly recommend therapy, whether it's counseling, clinical psychology, or psychiatric help, for every human being, because we are not taught in our education systems in our homes how to build good mental health tools. I recommend it for every single person. Even if you think you don't need it, I always believe go find out. Like you go for a regular checkup for your physical needs, go do a checkup once a year with your mental health professional, number 1. Number 2, I read this on Shreya's wall a few months ago. Every woman that heals herself heals generations behind her and every generation in front of her. So see this as your responsibility. And one of the ways that you can, again, the second way that I have a solution is build a support system. Build a support system of family, friends, colleagues, professionals, whoever it takes, that help you on your journey. We talk about making, telling women to be more confident, play bold, to do this. The onus is not on you to change. The onus is on you to find support tools, techniques, practical matters that can help you be resilient in this world. That's all you can do. Nobody wants you to change your personality. Nobody wants you to change your identity. We want you to be able to survive and thrive, right? So that's the extent of the onus. I don't believe in shifting the onus of change of the world onto women. I believe that's a very, very biased and extremely detrimental conversation to have. So the second is build your support system. The third, like you said, I think, you said shut it out, right? There are many specific techniques out there. Shutting out the narrative is one. The second one is humor. I'll give a very specific example. I was living and working in Ireland for many years, and there was a particular gentleman who was many years my senior and professionally my boss, who used to stand very close to me, like literally 3 inches away from my body when he used to speak to me. And he used to do that with all the women, right? And everybody was uncomfortable. And it's not like he ever touched you, but 3 inches is a very short distance to be talking to somebody, right? And he was maybe 6'3", right? So empowering. So I was uncomfortable. The first conversation, I was in difficult. I found the second conversation difficult. Third conversation, I had a plan. So when he started speaking to me, I'll just call him Tom. His name is not Tom. I just said, Tom, did you have onions for lunch? I can smell it off you. Like, do you mind taking a step back? He never stepped so close to any human being in the office ever again, right? So if you can salvage the ego of the person in front of you and still manage a situation, and that could be a man or a woman, a colleague, a family, a friend, you can possibly disrupt your ecosystem in a way that still accepts reality, but gives you control as well. And take it one step. The fourth and final advice is do little experiments. Simulate. Do your little chats in your mirror, like Meera was saying she does, gives her staff challenges. I think it's fantastic. You cannot change your reality unless you practice changing your reality, unless you visualize. No matter what your career is, talk to the mirror, try little experiments. It is the habit of change that results in change. It is not thought process alone. Action is required. So I hope that every single person here focuses on their mental health, whoever's listening, and takes some action on that. And I wish them the very best of luck with that journey.
Absolutely, Andrea. I think what you said was
That was
perfect.
brilliant. That was really good. I'm going to use the onions conversation. That was hilarious.
That's a really good line. Because you should come in on this one. That's your line, your go-to line. Anything done with humor can go a long way and in kind of diffusing the situation, at the same time getting your message across as well. I don't know, is Dipashri on, or is she? I can't find her, but Meera, yes. What do you think? Yeah, we are going with the
Actually,
onions.
I don't think any of the points you said are worth putting aside. I think they're very serious matters, and they do need to be given enough thought. And I think the best way to go about it is, number one, it's a very short life we all live, so take it easy. It's very easy for me to say that, you might feel, but we have all been through quite a lot. And at the end, you need to go to bed, sleep well. So whoever says anything, don't take it to heart. It might just be a reflection of an issue that they themselves are going through. So just be kind to them and just hope that they recover. That's about it. And at the same time, you ensure that you know what you are deep inside. You're a very beautiful soul, and that's all matters. It does not really surmount to having beautiful hair, beautiful, and what you're wearing, nothing really matters in the end. You're a queen, you're a queen. That's about it. And that feeling of being the queen is something that comes from deep within. And as Antra said, practice it. Yes, walk around. Have the crown on your head all the time. You know that it cannot fall. That's it. When you know that it has been placed by you and it can only be taken down by you, then nobody can shatter it. Nobody can touch it. So try and walk that path for yourself. You're not wearing that beautiful dress or having that haircut, etc. for somebody. You do it for yourself. And over a period of time, that confidence that you build is something everybody else will see. And they'll no longer hold you ransom for how you look or how they feel you should look, but for what you stand for, what you are as a leader, somebody who has a beautiful voice, somebody who is very kind to others. And these are the qualities that we need to look out for. Just one point of just an observation. I feel that whenever we watch someone or we hear these conversations where a woman or a girl or anybody for that matter has been put down, please stand up for it yourself. In the sense, don't bypass it. Don't think that it's normal for somebody to talk like that and get away with it. So yes, empathy, if that's a word, yes. Please practice that. It's for all of us. We just become better human beings. We all have just one small human life to live. And if we can do something good, yes, let's do that. If we can't, then let's stay mom and just carry on doing our work. I hope that helps. And I hope these are the leadership styles that we can use in our own lives. Leader does not have to be somebody who is heading a department, leading a big organization. It starts from the moment you decide to lead things in your own life. And if that message can be heard loud and clear, we've all succeeded. We've all come a long way then, empowered ourselves.
Absolutely. I think empathy is the key word over here. And whatever Dipashri was saying is obviously the situation of quite a few women, as has been agreed by most of the panelists over here. But Dipashri, I would, of course, again say to you that, what Antara said, use humor, and what Meera said as well, make yourself the queen, as we all are. And it's not about you per se. And I understand that these are things that women across the world face. And humor would be a very the way to go ahead. And again, make sure that you are not affected by this, because this is where mental health comes in. That the moment we start believing in these things around us, that's when we start thinking, oh my God, once I don't believe in it, I will not accept it. And that's the thing that we need to go ahead with. Dipashri, your final thoughts before I hand it over to Debashita.
Yeah. Thank you, Anta. Thank you, Meera. Thank you, Indrani, for your thoughts. See, this is not my story. It's a global issue. And it doesn't happen only, it's not restricted to rural areas. The friend of mine, she's quite wealthy and she's highly qualified, and she feels she underwent a lot of things. So she texted me. She said, I cannot join the chat show, but you convey these things. Even this, it's a global issue. I thought it needs to be addressed. It needs to be, we need a platform where we can actually say it. Yes, but then there are women, they wear a mask and they pretend to be happy and ignoring people, but actually they suffer mentally. They go back home, they see themselves in the mirror, they cry, and then they put on weight, and some of them, they block their friends. So that's called depression again. As Antara said, we must go for a mental health checkup yearly once, just like physical checkup. And I've seen most of my friends suffer. Some of them have actually, they call it Mangal Sutra or Tali in Tamil. They have removed it and they just threw it because they were like, enough is enough. They cannot. They were unable to manage themselves, but then they were unable to speak up, though their English is good or whatever it is, but then they just cannot speak up, and they feel okay, I'm from so and so family. Should I say things? Should I convey things? And what will happen? It's a family name that I carry, or I'm holding such so and so position. Is it right for me to discuss these things? So it's a global issue. Behenji tag doesn't happen only. It's not restricted to rural areas. It's restricted to urban areas, even people who are living abroad. My friend was living in US, and she had, after marriage, she had put on weight because she was undergoing some fertility treatment, and she had to put on weight. And her husband said, you just don't fit into these body cons. You don't look nice. And he divorced her. That was the only reason he divorced her. 3 years of marriage, no kids, and she was not working back then. She was in US, not even in India. Okay, if she was in India, somehow we could take our cards or we can bring her back. US. And it took her 3 years to actually call and tell me that this happened with her. She couldn't adjust herself. So these things are there. We have to address it. Though we ignore topics, we feel empathetic, we feel sympathetic, but then these are things which are there. People, educated ones, they suffer within the four walls. And I think it's we need to discuss it openly, not just ignore it. Empathy is, yes, I understand, but we should also fight it. We should have that mindset, a strong mindset and willpower to fight it out. Go and complain and about domestic violence and other things. I told my friend, you could have done that. Maybe we could have filed a case, and but she was not interested. That's it. Ho gaya, bas, khatam. She's a Punjabi, by the way. So I would like to say, please have emotional attachment with people. Understand what others are trying to are going through. If you wish to convey something, say it in a way that they understand by not hurting them. And that's the whole mantra. You know, even this is part of the body, and I think we should. No one worries about this. So thank you, other speakers, for joining us today. And yeah, over to you, Nani.
Thank you so much. I think the most important thing is having the voice. I think
Yes.
what thing that we all can agree on is, yes, we can talk on these forums, we can talk around the world, but it is, as Antara and Meera said, stand up for the women around you if they can't stand up for themselves, and have allowed them to, or be a speaker behind, but help them to have that voice as well. Thank you so much, Antara, Meera, and Dipashri. Strong women, brilliant women,
Thank you
and
so much.
icons for the future generation. So many people to look up to. Over to you, Devashishta.
Well, thank you very much, Indrani. That was brilliant. Absolutely engaging and mind-blowing. Antara, Meera, Deeposri, you just took it away. I just wish that this wouldn't finish, because this is just the beginning. We've just even started, kind of. We just started talking about women's empowerment, but unfortunately today we have to finish this. Are there any men left in the crowd? Because I saw a few men entering. Are there any men left? I just wanted to talk to the men about what they view. Is there anybody left, or they've all left? Nobody, no? Yeah. So, but I think in the end, so some last words. If Indrani could stay on. Ananna, Paramita, Mayudi Maya, Preetha, Antara, Meera, if you can, Deepostik, if you can put your cameras on, let's have some thoughts on each other. If you can put on, I think honestly I'm much more educated, and I think these little innuendos that women face, this is a part of life. It is not enough to say sorry. It is not enough to. I think people need to change their ways, and I think these kind of forums are very educative in how we need to deal with women. Yes, in the olden days, the law has become very strict now. You cannot actually tell a woman, at least in the Western world, when she comes back from pregnancy or something, you cannot body shame a woman. If you do that, you are in for a lot of trouble. But people follow it, not follow it. But I think it's very, very important for women to be protective of themselves, but also men to take note. And this kind of feeling that they've expressed from the women themselves, they should strike a chord with the men. But having said that, sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes men just, as a joke, they just go after women. Oh, something of this sort. And but having said that, we have a very long way to go. I mean, the change that is expected of people before we have a society where it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, the journey is just too long, and we are somewhere in the beginning of this journey. As Antara said, we are living in a little bubble that of the high-flying corporate urban women who don't care, but by and large, in the community, it is still the same. There is no difference. Like that movie, I forget the movie in which Thappad, that movie Thappad, this woman who's from the Basti or something, she's getting hammered every day. Whereas for the urban woman who gets one slap, there is so much. So yes, these disparities are there, and now I'll open it up to the house to actually put some final thoughts or comments or anything you want to add. I can see Meera raring to go. Meera, can we have you first, please?
Well, I must say it has been a very fruitful discussion. Quite a lot of points which get thrown under the carpet and nobody really wants to talk about. Nobody wants to address. We've all very openly, very in a very civil way, we've had discussions. It'll really be nice to see this discussion taken to a much larger forum. To a much larger crowd, so there is huge participation. Yeah, I think there's so much to learn from each other, and I'm going back with a lot of notes myself, a lot of thoughts to work on, and I'm going to carry this forward and talk to my team about it, have further discussions. But thank you, Devashi.
I was actually talking to Chandradi this morning regarding what is coming up in March 5th. So we're thinking of giving you a platform to actually address these issues. I mean, we can't let Indian Raga because it's like a little platform if you want, a little discussion with all the women in here, and we can actually televise it somewhere. And I think we should continue with this discussion.
At Indian Raga, we have very consciously tried to work on certain issues. For instance, we were one of the first few organizations, art organizations, to have spoken about the rights of all generations, or all genders, rather than just restricted to heterosexuals. We have been very open about. I think through art, we have really managed to do that pretty well, in a way that is still sensitive, and in a way that makes people understand the nuances of what the people who are going through it. It needs to be, the stories need to be told. The stories need to be effectively told, and art can be that medium. But at the same time, as a producer, as a leader, I'm also conscious of the fact that the artists themselves are strong enough to be able to express those feelings. So you don't really want a very weakened artist who is himself or herself going through these experiences to then go out and talk to a larger world about it. It'll really be nice to partner with Chandradi. It'll be lovely to have her.
We were talking this morning, you're saying, how can we get Indian Raga in? And also, Indrani is there, Ananna is there. We have to do something, we have to use, because online doesn't seem to be very popular these days.
I think going forward, Devashish, these will be hybrid events. Online to get started to some extent, and then you also need to be there in person. We need to have symposiums where we can talk about these things. Indian Raga definitely does the work of being the messenger. We can definitely reach out to a lot of people, but we also acknowledge the fact that you need to be there in person in order to have that connection with people.
Yeah,
I think that's true, because actually what you have over here are people, especially the ones on your panels are also very, very strong women who can become the voice for what needs to be done. I think it's the voice that's missing, and the voice to make a difference is what you have in the people that you have over here, and just add a few more and you have a proper group of ladies or women who are willing to make a difference, and that's what you need to take forward.
I think there was one point which really caught my attention, something that Meera spoke now. In fact, I was following you earlier, Meera, when you mentioned about the empathy and how nice you need to be, especially to women who undergo such kind of incidents or, things like events like these. We are bringing up the next generation in the field of arts, in the field of creative or performing arts. So especially, where we are associated with music platforms, dance, music, or whatever in the space of arts, we need to help the younger generation, the newer generations, inculcate all these good, the topics that we discussed today, and kind of, make them mainstream. going forward, because some of these topics can still go unnoticed, or they can be pushed under several other things that become mainstream. But this is a very key essence of key element uh, of our of the way we lead
But
our lives.
but the
So
question
I
is
think,
how. I mean, the question is how. I mean, the thing is,
yeah.
today we didn't actually get this audience that we thought we would get. But then this has to be, I think we have to continue with this kind of forum till something actually that's it's
Yeah,
the few of
I
us.
think, as Meera was saying, hybrid is the way to go forward. And of course, some of it can be online. I'm not saying online will not reach mainstream audience, but to make that connect and to actually have some people on the ground taking action and implementing certain things will require us to be there in person. So probably, we can collaborate. Harmoniverse is doing its first event on 19th of February in the Bhavan. And I know I'll probably have some of our panelists today on that day and see if we can, at least have some kind of a discussion around these topics. So, yeah.
Absolutely, like Harmoniverse is having, then Kalakar Art India, we will get probably Meera or maybe even some
When
of
is
you.
that, Ananya?
It's on 19th of February.
9th February.
Okay.
2022. So it's on a Saturday. So of course we have some time, but we can obviously formulate something around this and kind of touch upon it through a panel discussion or probably even a performance. So
yes,
that should be a
speaks
good
volumes. That'll hit the message across very beautifully.
That'll hit the message, because that is the way
beautiful.
we can
You
deliver a message through
get
arts.
Indian Raga or somebody to perform in your this thing. We would have done, but I was speaking to, but she says it will be difficult because they have this whole musical which they have created. They're putting in. So I think best is to Dia Naidu is amazing. Who's Dia Naidu? Dia Naidu. Oh, must be somebody. So that's why we thought that we'll get Meera or somebody to speak. But anyway, I think everybody is in a mood. Thank you very much, Mayadi Maya, Paramita, Meera, and Anonna, Deepasri. Antra, thank you very much. Preetha, brilliant from you. Brilliant. Preetha was absolutely.
Pratima wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Bolo, Maya, bolo.
Actually, it was very great. This show was really great, and I must say that many have missed this show, and all the speakers you have spoken from all the spheres of women. I being a songwriter, I write many songs based on women, and especially I being a mother of 4 years old and facing all the things that you have spoken, like being rejected in an interview, that kind of thing, or even I've gone through. And this was really a great show, I must say, and thank you for letting me a part of this.
And we won't stop doing this. We'll do it until we get crowds, isn't it?
Yes, we must.
Okay. So finally, we have the man. We have Joshua. Where is Joshua? Joshua Malik.
I'm here.
Hi, Joshua. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining. This is my vote of thanks. And now over to Joshua to take you into sunset. He's coming to us all the way from Kuwait this time. Hi, Josh. You're all right?
Hi. Yeah. I was there throughout the show, and I just want to thank everyone. Thank you all the panelists for such an empowering and strong, speech. And thank you so much for doing this. It was beautiful. Each and every one of you was so beautiful. It was an honor attending this. Seriously, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and now we can take it away. Finish off in style. Come on, Joshua.
So I'm not going to take too much time since we're already behind schedule. So I was trying to decide which songs to sing, and I came up with 2 songs by these amazing artists who tell these heartfelt stories. So one of them is by this British band called Oasis. It's called Don't Look Back in Anger. And as the title suggests, it basically explores a person's journey of going through a hard time and coming out stronger, not looking back at the bad times and just hoping for a better future. So I'm just gonna get started. Give me a second. Yeah. I hope everything is audible. I'm just gonna start.
All good.
Cool.
inside the eye of your mind. Don't you know you might find a better place to play? You said that you've never been. All the things that you've seen slowly fade away. So I start a revolution from my bed. 'Cause you said the brains I had went to my head. Step outside, summertime's in bloom. Stand up beside the fireplace. Take that look from off your face. 'Cause you ain't never gonna burn my heart out. So Sally can wait. She knows it's too late as we're walking on by. Her soul slides away. So don't look back in anger. I heard you say. Take me to the place that you know, where everyone goes, if it's night or day. Please don't put your life in the hands of a rock and roll band, slowly fade away. So I start a revolution from my bed. 'Cause you said the brains I had went to my head. Step outside, summertime's in bloom. Stand up beside the fireplace. Take that look from off your face. 'Cause you ain't never gonna burn my heart out. So Sally can wait. She knows it's too late and she's walking on by. Her soul slides away. Don't look back in anger. Don't look back in anger. I heard you say. So that was Don't Look Back in Anger by Oasis. And the next song I'm going to be singing is by Coldplay. I'm pretty sure all of you must have heard of Coldplay's Paradise. So this song was released 10 years ago. It's about a girl who's a bit lost in the world and she finds her way through magic and fantasy. And the melodies bleed out those emotions, and I hope you like it. So this is my last song. Thank you so much for listening. And here goes. When she was just a girl, she expected the world, but it flew away from her reach. So she ran away in her sleep, dreamed of paradise, paradise, paradise. Every time she closed her eyes. when she was just a girl, she expected the world, but it flew away from her reach, and the bullets catching her teeth. Life goes on, it gets so heavy, the wheel breaks the butterfly, every tear a waterfall. In the night, the stormy night, she closed her eyes. In the night, the stormy night, away she flies, and dreamed of paradise, 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 oh, paradise, 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 oh. So that was Paradise by Coldplay. Thank you so much for sticking around, everyone. It was an honor playing for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joshua. I think with this, we can call it an end. We can call it a day, basically. Thank you. Until we meet next time, we'll plan something very soon, Deepa. I don't think we should let this spirit go.
Yes.
This is really wonderful. People coming and speaking like this, talking about, even if we didn't have too many guests, that is still fine. I mean, it was very educative for all of us, I think. Yeah, Indrani, congratulations on such a brilliant moderation. My goodness, Indrani, jo gola peri hai. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Okay,
much. Thank you.
Bye.
We'll
Bye.
meet again. All right. Bye.